Joining us on the phone lines here tonight, he is the 2024 American Canadian Tour champion, and it is the one and only Gabe Brown joining us, driver of the number 47 in the American Canadian Tour Series. Gabe, pleasure to have you on the show tonight, and great to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. So just a couple of weeks ago, brought that trophy, which is just about as tall as any of us are in this room, home from the American Canadian Tour. But before we jump into the 2024 championship season, tell us how you got the racing bug.
My dad raced back in the day, back in the 90s, and I was born in 02, so I never saw that, but I grew up right here beside Dale Shaw Race Cars, and every day running around as a kid, I ran up to the shop, and I'd come home and beg my dad to build me a go-kart, and he wouldn't do it, and finally Dale told me if I took a go-kart apart and put it back together all on my own, that he'd let me race it, and I did just that, and we've been going steady since, I think, 2013.
And I'm guessing you started kind of in some of the lower series up there in New Hampshire. What track did you get your start on?
I actually went straight from go-karts to pass car at Oxford Weekly and started there in 2017 with a pro stock, and my first two finishes were 10th, and my third finish was second, I believe, to DJ. And the next year, at 15 years old, I won the championship.
No kidding.
Going from go-karts to a stock car just like that is a crazy transition. How was that like, and what did it take to really get the grasp of the stock cars?
I wish I could remember. It just we were gonna do like a street stock or a limited or something at first, and Dale told my dad, he's like, nope, not with my help. He's like, you're going to go right to what you think you're going to end with. So that's what we did with Dale and DJ's help. And we went over and tested 3 or 4 times before race day, and we felt like we got up to speed fairly quick and went to a weekly race over there. And we started last in like a 30-car field and finished 10th. So we started in our spot the next week, which was like 5th. And finished 10th. So we just starting in our spot and getting the hang of it, and slowly got comfortable around cars, I guess.
So with the ACT Tour going around to different tracks and different having different events, what's your favorite track or favorite event you like to race in?
White Mountain by far. Our cars are pretty good there, and I've really enjoyed White Mountain in anything that I've run it in, and we've had a lot of success there. So the White Mountain 250 is my favorite, but we've yet to win it. So we got to go back and chase that one.
Let's talk a little bit about the 2024 championship season. For those uncommon listeners here on the show who might not know the ACT Tour season and schedule, tell us a little bit about the details of the season and talk to us about some of your work this season to bring home the championship here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so we start at Loudon, the NASCAR track in New Hampshire, and I hate that, to be honest, because I build the race cars every day here at Dale Shaw Race Cars with Dale and DJ, and I don't feel comfortable going there, and we have plenty of speed, but I just don't really like going there. But then we go from there to Oxford over in Maine, and a track that obviously I'm pretty familiar with, and then we go to Seekonk down there by you guys, and then we go to Canada for a couple races, and Thompson down there, and we just all sorts of variety of tracks, White Mountain and Thunder Road, and we only go to them a couple times each and not 6 or 7 times, so you don't really get to work on your stuff all that much unless you go to weekly races, so like setup-wise, so you only get those 2 shots to shine a year at each track. But I have a guy that helps me a lot on my cars. His name's Matt Morrill, and my car actually stays at his shop. We're just good buddies, and he quit racing and just wanted a car to work on, so he crew chiefs my car and does all the weekly maintenance for me, and we set it up together and whatnot, and we've had a very strong year doing it together.
When you have the opportunity to race in Canada, I'm curious if there's a different vibe that the fans bring or the atmosphere around the racetrack because it's a different country. I would love to know if there's any validity to what I think could happen.
The fans in Canada are far more into it than anywhere around here, and they drink a lot of beer and they get way into it.
we can speak from experience up in Loudon on that one. I know that for sure. The Canadians know how to party.
Yeah, they love to drink their beer, and they actually have a beer tent right in the pits. And
that can't cause any fights in the middle of the infield at all.
A fellow racer told me once that there's a 2-beer limit for the drivers.
And that guy's lying to you because he drinks more than 2 beers. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I'm not exposing any names, but you believe it.
How do you like running some of the bigger races, like the what's the big one up there in Thunder Road? The milk was it the Milk Bowl when you kiss the cow afterwards?
The Milk Bowl.
Yeah. Have you kissed the cow yet?
I have not kissed the cow, and I probably will never kiss the cow because we just are not very good there. But if I ever get the chance to kiss the cow, it's never had a kiss like it's gonna have from me.
That's a huge race. I've been to it myself to spectate, and it's just huge.
Yeah, they do a very good job with that race and everything. The whole weekend, it's a special weekend, and the place is just so hard. They have 20 weekly guys that can compete with any tour guy, and that's just, when you bring in 20 tour guys that are that good as well, it makes it for a long weekend if you're not good up there.
Looks like you found victory lane this year a handful of times. Talk to us about some of the wins on the season for you.
Yeah, all of our wins actually came at White Mountain. We ran the Triple Crown Series up there, the Wallace Ford Triple Crown, and we won all 3 of those. And then we actually were racing for the lead in the White Mountain 250 and took the lead and led a few laps. And after the pit stops, we blew a right front tire and got into a wreck and so on. And then we won the 200. So out of the 5 races we ran up there, we won 4 of them. And honestly, we should have won. We were in contention to win 8 or 9 races this year, and we just weren't able to pull it off. But we had a car capable of pulling it off in 8 or 9, I would say. But that's what put us in position to win the championship, was having the podium runs and the good runs compared to others.
Haunted 100 a couple of weeks ago down at Seekonk. You obviously brought home the championship on the season. Didn't come with a quiet day, though, I guess. What happened out there? Talk to us a little bit about the day at Seekonk.
Yeah, we actually struggled all weekend long with the balance of the car, and that's just one of the places that I struggle at in general. And we finished 3rd there back earlier this year, and still kind of struggled, and came back with that same setup and wasn't happy, and made a lot of changes for Saturday after practice on Friday, and still we were better but not where we wanted to be. So before the heat race, we changed a lot of stuff, and we were a lot better, and we changed a little bit more stuff for the feature, and we drove from I think it was 17th to racing for 3rd, and just a shitty deal and a tough deal. And I don't want to say anything because it's done and over with, but I was put in a bad spot, and it put the 52 in a worse spot, and it's just, I really wish it ended differently, because I have a lot of respect for David and what he's accomplished at Seekonk and whatnot, and it just sucked. And we got put to the rear after getting shuffled into him, wrecking him, and I think we started 29th after we went back green and drove back to 16th, but only had 30 laps or so to do it. So wasn't the finish we wanted, but we finished. So
enough to bring that championship home, though, that's for sure. You got a spot picked down, or the Act Tour championship there that's about 5 feet tall. That doesn't go home with you. That's their tour championship that your name goes on, right?
Yeah, but the trophy that they give at the banquet is probably 6 feet tall as well, and pretty big. And I got a spot cleaned that I keep dusting, waiting for it.
Have you ever thought about taking the car, you and your team, outside of the Northeast, or has there ever been plans to maybe try to tackle the Southeast and all those drivers down there?
Yeah, we have our pass car Pro Late model that we actually plan to go and run at least 1 to 2 Southern races, maybe this winter or late or early in the spring, I guess. But we haven't decided yet, and hopefully ACT goes down south for an opener this year. They're still talking about it, but hopefully we'll be able to do something with both cars to start the year off, because that's an early race in the spring down south is my family's vacation. So hopefully we can find something we want to do.
What else do you do for your spare time? I mean, you're still a young kid, so you got to be doing some other activities, no?
No, I have no other spare time. Race cars is all I do, and I live, sleep, eat, and breathe racing. So I work right here at Dale Shaw Race Cars, and it's across the driveway from my house. And hell, I'm 22 years old, and I just bought my first vehicle a couple months ago because I've just always walked to work, and I've never had to have a vehicle really. And I finally bit the bullet and bought one.
You're up in the mountains of New Hampshire, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep, North Conway.
North Conway, yeah, good little drive up there, good little area for sure.
So I got one last question. Do you like because I find that all the younger drivers now, they're all into iRacing. Do you do any of that?
Yep, I do have iRacing. That's the only other thing I do. On
they
free
all
time,
do iRacing.
But that's usually at 1-2 o'clock in the morning when I get home from the shop.
Does it help? Maybe I need to get it.
It's not real life. It's still nothing like real life, but it makes you familiar with like your eye to feet like the coordination between your eye and your reflexes and whatnot, and kind of learning the tracks. It kind of helps with, but it's still nothing like real life when it comes to doing it.
Yeah, you get no feel, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Any 2025 plans yet? Still in the works, or what's going on here in the off season for you, Gabe?
Still kind of in the works. We're gonna do ACT full time again. We're gonna do a lot of White Mountain weekly races, possibly some Thunder Road weekly stuff, some Thompson weekly stuff, and just kind of fill in with our pro stock after that, and hopefully hit a couple Southern races.
And the most important question: anybody, friends, family, sponsors you want to thank for the 2024 championship season you had?
Yeah, obviously all my sponsors. I couldn't do it without them. This racing thing is a very, very expensive thing we do, and a bad hobby, really. we all love doing it, but it's very expensive. And my parents dropped their heart and soul into making it possible for me as well. And Dale and DJ, it really wouldn't have been possible without them taking the risk on me to race a go-kart for them, and it's just very fortunate to have the people that I have behind me.
Excellent. And, of course, you were in attendance just 2 weeks ago out at the New England Auto Races Hall of Fame for Dale's inception into that. Good little time out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and just glad that he's finally getting recognized for everything that he accomplished in his time.
Excellent. 2024 American Canadian Tour champion Gabe Brown joining us here on Miles on Motorsports, presented by Chuck Run Auto Parts, in our In the Turn interview, sponsored by Brightman Lumber tonight. Gabe, pleasure to have you. We'll talk to you down the road here soon.
Thanks for having me.